Okay, 2016 paper, we are going to tackle just 2 questions from here. So question number 4 reads, having completed Masters in Business Administration at UNILAS, Sam has been promoted as production manager in a newspaper production company. 2 of his key responsibilities are to prepare the annual budget for consideration by the budget committee to ensure budgetary control once the budget is approved. The budget officer has issued the budgetary timetable and budget instructions, which include the following. Method of budgeting: the company will use zero-based budgeting as opposed to incremental budgeting. Question number 1, explain or discuss the role of the budgeting committee and the budget officer in the budgetary process. Okay, so this is under budgeting. So what is the role of the budget committee and the budget officer? So we discussed this yesterday. Let me quickly rush them through. Number 1, just beam them for you to read for a record. So the budget committee has the following roles. Number 1, setting up budgetary objectives and guidelines. They have the role of reviewing and approving the proposed budget and also ensuring that these budgets are in alignment with the company's strategic objectives. The budget committee should also monitor the performance.
Sorry, I can't see your screen. I can't see your screen.
Are you able to see my screen, the rest of you?
No.
Okay.
I'm able to see it.
You're able to see it. How come the rest?
Yes, I can.
Are you now able to see it, the rest of you? Are you now able to see it, Mr.? Can I change the screen? Okay, let me try to change the screen.
Able to see it. I'm able to see it. I have it now.
Okay, let me change the screen for the others. Maybe it would help everyone. Hey, is this clear now?
Can see this one as well.
Yes.
So the role of the budget committee, basically, number 1 is to set up budgetary objectives and guidelines. Their role is also to approve any proposed budget and ensure that it's in line with the strategic goals. The budget committee also must monitor the performance of this budget throughout the fiscal period and also authorize any adjustments to the budget. So this is the role of the budgetary committee. Then also the budgeting officer, who in this case is Sam. This is the role. Number 1, issuing budget instructions and guidelines. Also to assist departmental heads in preparing their budgets, consolidating departmental budgets into a comprehensive company budget. It should also provide financial analysis and recommendations to support budget decisions, and also monitoring and execution of the reports, and also by providing these reports to management and the budget committee. That is the role that Sam has as the budget officer. Okay, second one is compare and contrast zero budgeting to incremental budgeting. So the
Mr. Collins, you sent this?
Yes, I'll send.
Are you going to send it? Okay.
So comparing zero-based budgeting, it requires what? Justification for core expenses from baseline of 0. The zero-based budgeting also focuses on the needs and priorities rather than on past expenditures. Okay, then It also encourages a thorough review and analysis of all expenses. Zero budgeting also results in more accurate allocation of resources and identification of cost-saving opportunities. For incremental budgeting, it adjusts the previous budget by a certain percentage. It also assumes that past spending patterns are important indicators for future needs. Incremental budgeting can also lead to a budgetary criteria and also it can lead to budgetary inertia and overlooked inefficiencies. So it can lead to budgetary inertia and overlooked inefficiencies. It also simplifies the budgetary process in that it may identify things that may not reflect. Okay, it simplifies the budgeting process, but may not reflect the changing priorities or resource requirements. So this is what we have on the differences between the two. So are we together?
Yes.
So if we are to differentiate them, they can be differentiated in terms of their philosophy. When you're dealing with zero budget based budgeting, here all expenses must be justified from zero baseline. So regardless of whether they are new or recurring, it assumes that no expenses are automatically approved. So this kind of budgeting actually requires all the departments to justify every penny. Whereas incremental budgeting, it involves adjusting the previous period's budget by a certain percentage on amount. Remember, if last year we spent this much, we're just going to adjust by 20% because of the prices increase. So it assumes that past spending but are good indicators. Those of you who are controlling officers, like I was mentioning, this is important for you. Then the approach that is there in into budgeting. So zero-based budgeting starts from scratch. It requires managers to justify all the expenses in the business starting anew. So this one encourages thorough review of all the expenses, prioritizing them based on the current needs. They can even negate the previous budgets. Incremental budgeting, on the other hand, the approach basically is on building on the previous budget. So here they want to adjust the figures up and down, okay, based on inflation and growth targets. In the focus, the zero-based budgeting basically focuses on needs and priorities. Its aim mainly is to allocate resources based on their importance to achieving organizational objectives. So zero-based budgeting, it encourages cost efficiency and also can uncover areas for cost saving, whereas incremental budgeting primarily focuses on maintaining continuity with the past spending patterns, or it may not always reflect the changing priorities. So just on that. In terms of flexibility, zero-based budgeting provides greater flexibility in that it requires managers to justify all expenses based on the current needs and their objectives. And this kind of budgeting is more dynamic in allocating resources. It also encourages managers to rethink the established practices. Incremental budgeting, on the other hand, will offer flexibility in the sense that it will tend to perpetuate the existing spending patterns. But while it's adjusting the odd with a few increments, this kind of budgeting typically is based on predetermined factors, that may not always align with the current organizational goals. The difference, you can also look at it in time resource requirements. Zero-based requires more time and resources to implement because of the need for a comprehensive review. It's complicated, requires planning, efforts from all managers and departmental heads, whereas incremental is less time consuming. I'm sure most of you, when you're doing budgets, you just look at the previous, what did we do, what can we add? Resources, it's resource intensive. Okay, it builds on figures. It may also involve minimal adjustments, yes, here and there, but relatively it's very straightforward. In terms of risk mitigation, zero-based budgeting may mitigate the risks by encouraging a thorough review of all the expenses, because it ensures that resources are allocated based on the current needs. It also promotes efficiency and also uncovers areas of unnecessary spending. So incremental budgeting may carry huge risks because it overlooks some inefficiencies and misallocations, since it primarily is based on past spending patterns. Whether they're correct or not, it will just be based on that. Is it thorough now and clear and clearer? So part C, explain the steps Malcolm sums should take in order to prepare the production budget for the company. So the steps, number one, you need to understand the company objectives. That's the first thing, so that it may align the budget with the company's strategic goals and objectives. Number two, gather information. So you need to gather information on the requirements, anticipated sales, production capacity, material costs, labor costs, overheads. So this is the data collection phase. Then review historical performance. So she'll need to analyze the past production budgets, actual performance, and any variances from there. Then engage stakeholders. So we'll collaborate with departmental heads, the sales teams, and other relevant stakeholders to gather up, ensure that they buy in. Need to apply the zero-based budgeting. So to justify each of these expenses, you need to, from scratch, ensure that all these costs are necessary to ensure that they contribute to production efficiency. Allocation of resources. So must distribute resources on priorities, must balance costs and where they are needed. Then also present the budget proposal. So must clearly communicate the rationale behind the budget allocations to the budget committee, must highlight the key assumptions and potential risks. And lastly, revise as and if necessary. So must incorporate feedback from the budget committee and also make adjustments based on what was recommended to finalize the budget. All right, then discuss the budgetary control system at Malcolm sums. Discuss the budgetary control system that Malcolm sums can employ in the production department. So in the production department, this is what they can employ. Number one, performance monitoring. So you must establish the key PIs such as production, output, cost per unit, and efficiency ratios. Secondly, variance analysis. Regularly compare actual performance against the budgeted and identify any variances. Then thirdly, budget review. Must conduct periodic reviews of production and assess the relevance, effectiveness in achieving the objectives. Then cost management. Must implement cost-saving measures and efficiencies to optimize resource utilization. Then also provide timely and accurate reports in management. So timely and accurate reports to management, highlighting the budget performance deviations. Thirdly, make adjustments to the budget or operational plans as necessary. So these measures will help maintain, sums to ensure that there's effective budgetary control in the production department. So this is how this question could be answered. It's tricky. You don't know, you cannot guess. Okay. You cannot guess.
So that document you're just from showing us, the one I think it's in Word. Are you able to send it in Word, not just in a video form, but also in Word, the way you've
Okay.
summarized?
I'm sending it right away.
Thank you.
So we can go to the next question. For the next question. So the next question reads, so the International Accounting Standards has developed conceptual framework for financial reporting, which must be described as comprising of the following assumptions underlying the preparation of financial statements, principles to be followed in the presentation of financial statements, qualitative characteristics of the financial information. So describe the usefulness of the conceptual framework, discuss difficulties in the use of financial conceptual framework, list and explain the qualitative characteristics of the financial statements provided in the conceptual framework, and for each of the following, explain whether it's a principle or assumption. So these ones have been listed. I think it's similar to the question that we did. So what's the usefulness of the conceptual framework? Anyone? Those that were there, we discussed this.
I think it helps in the preparation of standards for the, is it IFAS? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Just in preparing financial reports.
Absolute preparation, financial reports. Yes, provides a coherent and consistent foundation for financial reporting standards. Any others before I move in quickly? At least you can answer one or two of those parts. Okay. Since we're just ready to hear answers, let me just this is 20, what paper is 2016? 16 paper. Okay. Okay, so here we go. Chapter 5. Describe the usefulness of the conceptual framework. Number 1, provides a coherent and consistent foundation for financial reporting. It helps setters in developing new accounting standards and revising existing ones. So it also assists people who are preparing the financial statements in understanding the underlying principles and qualitative characteristics. It also facilitates users of financial statements in interpreting, analyzing. It also enhances comparability, consistency, and transparency. Second part, which was asking, is discuss the difficulties in use of the conceptual framework. So some of the difficulties, number 1, are in interpretation. Conceptual framework can sometimes be subject to interpretation, leading to differences in application. So this is one of them. People may interpret differently. The other difficulty is in flexibility. Conceptual framework may allow for some degree of flexibility. This will result in inconsistency. Conceptual framework, in terms of complexity, it can be complex sometimes for non-experts. So this may be challenging in application. Also, evolving environment, so challenges in business practices and economic conditions may render the concept outdated. So cultural differences, different countries have different accounting practices and norms, so this will make it challenging to universally apply it. Then we go to part C, list and explain the qualitative characteristics of financial statements as provided for the conceptual framework. So we have principles or assumptions. So matching is a principle. So this is a principle that states that expenses must be recognized in the same period as revenues they relate to. So it ensures that our financial statements accurately reflect the results. Accruals is the principle. Accruals principle indicates that revenues and expenses should be recognized when they're earned or incurred, regardless of when cash is received or paid. Going concern is an assumption, we talked about it, which assumes that the entity must continue its operation for a foreseeable future. It underpins the preparation of financial statements, assuming that the entity will not be forced to liquidate or curtail its operations. Materiality is a principle which assumes that the financial information should be disclosed if its omission or misstatements could influence the economic decisions. So it's a principle which helps in determining the relevance and significance of information to the users. Cost constraint is an assumption which acknowledges that the benefits of providing financial information should exceed the cost in preparing and presenting it. Then we go to the qualitative characteristics. We have that formula.
Sorry, Mr. Collins, sorry, a quick one. On the cost constraint, is it the same as the cost benefit? Because
Yes.
in the book, I think it's written as cost benefit,
Yeah.
where it says the cost of preparing the information or providing the information should outweigh the benefits of the preparation.
Yes. So this is although I'm using based with the way he brought it in here, it's it's cost limitation. It's the same, I think. Then now let's explain the qualitative characteristics. So we have the formula. Which formula are we using? CAT-V, which stands for what?
Yes, CAT-V. C for comparability, U for understandability, T for timeliness, V for verifiability.
Yes. Okay.
These are enhancing characteristics.
Yes. Okay. Then RF.
RF, which the qualitative characteristics. These are the fundamental. The fundamental characteristics, they are relevance and faithful representation.
Okay. And faithful representation, which is reliability as well. Okay. So are we together on that point?
Yes. Please send these as well.
Okay. Okay. So we go to these ones. They are all called qualitative characteristics. So when you're dealing with comparability, financial statements should be comparable across different entities and periods. Understandability, information must be what? Clear, concise, and understandable to the users. Relevance, it must be capable of influencing an economic decision by users timely. Faithful or reliability must be free from error, must faithfully represent the economic substance of the transactions. Okay, so these are the qualitative, which both include the fundamental and enhancing. So they are about 6 or so in total. So the question was just asking generally to list the qualitative characteristics as provided in the conceptual framework. So these are the ones that are mixed. It wasn't one-sided, so I explained them in a brief way. All right, thank you so much for your time.